In this video, we will take a look at expressing common fractions and mixed numbers as decimals, and also expressing decimals as fractions. So in this first example, 5/8, expressing 5/8 as a decimal means to do 5 divided by 8. So 8 is the divisor. So 8 is a divisor into 5. I'm going to add a little extra room. The decimal is after the 5. The decimal, my answer, will be straight up here. And we ask ourselves, how many times does 8 go into 5? Well, it doesn't. And so we need another digit. And so we'll put a 0 on here. And how many times does 8 go into 50? Well, 8 will go into 50 a total of 6 times. So I've done the divide. And now I'm going to do the multiply. 6 times 8, which is 48. And then we'll do the subtract and get a 2. And we're not quite done. Maybe we can go a little bit further. We want to go until we can see if we can get a 0 remainder, or we might get a repeated decimal. So let's try another 0, and we'll bring it down. How many times will 8 go into 20? Well, that goes in 2 times. And 2 times 8 is 16. And then we do the subtract, and we get a 4. We still don't have a 0 remainder. So how many times will 8 go? We need to bring down the next 0. How many times will 8 go into 40? And that is 5 times. And 5 times 8 is 40. And now we have a 0 remainder. So this actual decimal stops here. So 5/8 as a decimal is 0.625. In order to express decimals as fractions, we want to drop the decimal and write the given numbers as a numerator, and then the denominator is a power of 10, using as many zeros as there are decimal places in the decimal number. So what that means is I'm dropping this part here, and I see that I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So this is equivalent to 125 over 10 to the power of 3, which is 1,000. Now, that's not a reduced fraction, so we could see if we can reduce it any further. I'm going to start to divide it to see if there are any common factors. And I can see that 25 is a common factor of each of these right away. So I'm going to divide each by 25. And so 125 divided by 25 is equal to 5. And 1,000 divided by 25 is 40. And then I take another look at it and I see, oh, well, actually, 5 goes into each of those as well. So we could divide by a little bit further and divide by 5 there, divide by 5 there. And we see that 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 0.125 is actually equal to 1/8. Let's take a look at another one, changing a mixed number, which is a whole number plus a decimal part, into a fraction. And actually, we're changing it to a mixed fraction, right? Because we're going to have a whole number, that's 6. And then we're going to have a fraction part. And so the fraction part is 875 over 1,000 again. And we'll see if that reduces. And actually, we can see that it will be divisible by 5 and possibly other multiples of 5. So if we divide each by 125, we will see that we end up with 875 divided by 125 is 7. And 1,000 divided by 125 is 8. So the fractional part, 0.875, is equal to 7/8. The whole number part is 6. So over here for my result, 6.875 is equal to 6 7/8. Okay, as you can see here, I had 8s in this one, and I have 8s in this one. So it's going to be helpful to recognize the decimal values that represent 8s. And so what I've done here is put a table with 8s, or actually halves, quarters, 8s, and 16ths. And we had 0.125 in ours. Right there. We also had something that involves 7/8, 0.875. And so it's going to be helpful to really get to know these, especially up to 16ths. Notice that the halves have 1 decimal place. The quarters I have written to 2 decimal places, even the 5.0, which doesn't have to be because it can actually be written as a half. The 8s we have to 3 decimal places. And the 16ths we have to 4 decimal places. If I did 30 seconds, they would be to 5 decimal places. Okay, so perhaps jot those down and begin to get familiar with those so that it's much quicker to change a decimal value that is one of these, halves, quarters, 8s, or 16ths, into a fraction.